Hello, hello, and welcome back to Temptations Ballad, where, I guess we're gonna see that duel, right? I'm excited. The nobility and festival organizers peer down at on the scene, below with bewilderment. Apologies, gentlemen. We cannot allow a duel in the middle of the Firefly Festival arena. Right, it was, Maeve Osmia, suddenly stood up and waved her hand. And why not, pray tell? As I said earlier, the first day of the Firefly Festival is meant to celebrate the spirit of competition and rivalry with our fellow man. And what better rivalry than the heir of the noble house O'Shaughnessy and the son of Axia's greatest mercenary warrior? I motion that we allow this public duel to commence. The festival announcer glanced nervously between Maeve and the members of nobility standing behind her. After a beat, he turned back towards the crowd. Very well! Ladies and gentlemen, as an appraiser to our main event, we will be hosting a public duel between Sires Calder O'Shaughnessy and Clody Bronebreaker. We invite the two of you to take your places at the center of the arena. Calder eagerly strutted towards the center of the stadium, already confident in his victory. Artemis and Sid exchanged anxious looks as Cole readied his lute. Cole, are you really intending to expose your magical ability in this duel? Sir Morrow will surely hear about it. Do you think you really can win? And Cole shrugged. Win or lose, everything works out for us in the end. The heat of the situation gets off of Artemi, and people won't be favorable towards Calder for this shitty stunt. More importantly, he turned towards Sid with concern. You doing okay, buddy? Me? I'm fine. It's nothing. Sorry I dragged us into another mess again. Despite his insistence, Sid's stiff shoulders and jaw clenched down betrayed his broken state of mind. Cole placed a firm hand on his shoulder. You did nothing wrong. We're in this mess because Calder is an asshole. After this shitstorm is done, we'll go to Miss Shriekwood for some tea and talk everything out. Sound good? And Sid nodded quietly. Yeah. Cole pressed a firm hand to Sid's chest and leaned close. Listen, man. At the end of the day, you're my friend. I don't keep you around because of some pity party or a sense of usefulness. I genuinely like hanging out with you. And I am genuinely better off for knowing you. You keep your chin up, okay? Okay. Cole gave him one last reassuring nod before making his way towards the field. A low silence hung in their viewing booth as they watched him leave. After a beat, Artemi quietly sat down next to Sid with a gentle look. You're not angry. Why would I be angry? All that stuff Calder said about my thoughts. Artemi fell silent for a moment, pondering her next words carefully. Did I do something wrong? And Sid curled up on the floor and buried his face in his knees. No. I see. Would it help if I left? And Sid sucked in a deep breath of air. No. I like having you around. I really do. You're my friend. I'm just a jealous fucking asshole for feeling like this. Do not apologize for your emotions, Sir Sid. You cannot simply disagree with a feeling. This is just part of life, as the Knight Commander always says. Artemi shook her head with an incredulous laugh. She sat down on the floor next to Sid with a patient smile. Truly, though, I never imagined myself as someone worthy of such jealousy. Sid snapped up with a patronized glare. You're the Creator's chosen. You were born with ridiculous power and the respect of everyone who knows your name. Common folk like me, well, Calder was right. I'm basically an ant next to you. Quite ironic, as you tower above me in physical height. I'm being serious! Artemi smiled. Perhaps the true irony is that you regarded me as such a perfect individual. In my early years, the church considered me a defective chosen. Despite these stories and the Creator's blessing me at childbirth, I possess no such magical abilities as a child. Sid blinked with surprise. That's not what people have been saying. Yes, the church does have a certain image to uphold. But at the age where most chosen show signs of great celestial power, I had next to nothing. The healer and arcanists at the church detected great potential within me, but I had nothing to show for it. I could barely even keep a candle lit. Her Excellency was most furious with me. Artemi grew quiet. The world needed a Creator's chosen to face whatever threat comes its way, and I was not ready to fill the role. The crushing sensation of waking up every day knowing that you are not enough. I suppose I can relate. Some days it grew to the point where I debated whether it was worth waking up to. Sid's chest lurched. I didn't think someone like you would have to deal with this kind of thing. The knight let out a small chuckle. I thought the same of you. You have always struck me as such a kind and reliable man, and more honest than Cole, at the very least. Sid managed a small chuckle. That's not a very high bar. Sid gazed at Artemi, his chest heavy with a confusing storm of emotion. Hey, Artemi. Yes? If you don't mind me asking, how did you end up waking your power? And dealing with that crushing feeling? The knight fell silent. After a moment, she gingerly reached into her pocket and pulled out a tiny H candle. It was rather short and thoroughly used. There were small impressions in the wax made by a small hand, as though a child had held it in a deathly tight grip. Upon a chosen's death, the blessing of the Creator's chosen passes on to the next worthy candidate. And thus, at the age of 15, I was given an ultimatum. Keep this candle alit through a winter storm for one whole night, and the church will deem me strong enough to nurture into the next chosen. Fail, and the power will pass on to someone more worthy than I. Sid felt his stomach drop. What? They can't put that kind of pressure on a child. It is prophesied that the world would succumb to great tragedy should the Creator's Chosen fail their duty. Is the happiness of one child truly such a high price? A knight's duty is to her people. I was willing to do what must be done. Sid stared at the tiny candle in her hands with growing dread. So you passed the test then. The church agreed to keep working with you. Artemi rolled the candle in her hands thoughtfully. Can you keep a secret, Sir Sid? What? What do you mean? She laughed bitterly. I failed. Artemi, the candle went out halfway through the night, and I was left in trod through the blizzard for the rest of my trial. I think at some point I simply gave up and waited for the frigid cold to take me. How in the world did you survive? A bittersweet smile spread across her face as she rubbed a gentle thumb over the worn wick of the candle. A very kind old man said he would miss me if I were gone. And I suppose I couldn't bear the thought of making him sad. And so I fought to stay, just a little longer. Artemi gently hid the candle back into her pocket. From that day forward, I held a deep anger within me. Anger towards myself for being unable to fill my duty, for always disappointing my loved ones. This wrath became the foundation of my magic. It was the fuel for my first spell and all that came after. Small sparks of electricity pulsed from her hand. You know, the Creator's Chosen is usually a light domain cleric. We should be wielding the warm, comforting flame of the Creator to spread her love to all who bask in her light. A small chuckle escapes Artemi's throat. My magic was too volatile, too furious. I ended up becoming a Tempest Domain Cleric, a seemingly impossible feat for someone who worships the same deity. I still can't really light candles or zap them aflame while with lightning. Another disappointment added to Her Excellency's long list, I'm sure. While wrath isn't the healthiest foundation for one's strength, it has kept me going, at the very least. She turned towards Sid with a genuine appreciative smile. I do not know what the cure for your feelings of jealousy may be, but perhaps you should look inward for a foundation of strength as well. Hopefully one that is much better than mine. You know, I concur with what Sid said to you earlier. I also enjoy having you around, and my life is better for having known you. At the end of the day, you are my friend as well. Please remember that, regardless of what doubts you may have. She looked up at Sid looked up at Artemi. Her patient smile felt warm. Sid felt undeserving, but he swallowed the bitter thought back down. Thanks! A loud sniffle suddenly broke them out of their thoughts. The two of them glanced around to see Agatha blowing her nose on a tissue while wiping away a tear. Aw, you kids are too sweet. What a heartwarming display of friendship. This is better than a theater troupe's last big production. Sorry, but can you cast Deafen on yourself again? Agatha scowled indignantly. What? Fine. Kids these days. Always so afraid to show some emotion for once. Okay, so I know this video is short. I know this video is short. But it's 7 a.m. and I'm tired. Don't ask. It's fine. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'll see you around, everyone.